How do you define success? Some of the best advice I can share comes from outside the comedy world. John Wooden, the legendary men's basketball coach at UCLA, is one of the finest examples. But first, I want to tell you about a comic I met in this Discord group talking about stand-up. They're actually doing the 10 jokes a day writing exercise. And this comic, he sends me a video, or he posted a video of another comic. He says, hey, what do you think about this? It was hard to kind of hear a lot of it because the audio was bad, but there was one joke that really stood out, and I actually laughed out loud watching it on my desktop, which is rare because I've seen so much comedy. I've been doing comedy 30 years. To make me laugh is a tough get. I thought it was funny. I wrote that back. It turns out he was the guy. And then all he did was badmouth himself. I'm like, what? You're funny, dude. What are you talking about? He said, oh, no, well, 4 years ago, he sent this other screenshot of a YouTube video that had very few likes or whatever. He said, I was horrible 4 years ago. And I said, well, that proves my point. You're successful. You are improving now. You're better than you were 4 years ago. Here's what John Wooden, who won 10 national championships with UCLA in 12 years, 7 in a row. It's never even been close to duplicated. No college men or women's team has won more than 4 in a row. Here's what he had to say about defining success.
I coined my own definition of success in 1934 when I was teaching at a high school in South Bend, Indiana, being a little bit disappointed and delusioned perhaps by the way parents of the youngsters in my English classes expected their youngsters to get an A or B. They thought a C was all right for the neighbor's children because the neighbor's children are all average. But they weren't satisfied with their own and would make the teacher feel that they had failed or the youngster had failed. And that's not right. The good Lord in his infinite wisdom didn't create us all equal as far as intelligence is concerned, any more than we're equal as far as size, appearance. Not everybody could earn an A or B. And I didn't like that way of judging. And I did know how the alumni of various schools back in the 30s judged coaches and athletic teams. If you won them all, you were considered to be reasonably successful. Not completely, because I found out we had a number of years at UCLA where we didn't lose a game, but it seemed that we didn't win each individual game by the margin that some of our alumni had predicted, and quite frequently I really felt that they had backed up their predictions in a more materialistic manner. But I was true back in the 30s, so I understood that. But I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it. And I wanted to come up with something that I hope could make me a better teacher and give the youngsters under my supervision, whether it be in athletics or in the English classroom, something to which to aspire other than just a higher mark in the classroom or more points in some athletic contest. And I thought about that for quite a spell. And I wanted to come up with my own definition. I thought that might help. And I knew how Mr. Webster defined it as the accumulation of material possessions or the attainment of a position of power or prestige or something of that sort, worthy accomplishments perhaps, but in my opinion, not necessarily indicative of success. So I wanted to come up with something of my own. And I recalled I was raised on a small farm in southern Indiana, and Dad tried to teach me and my brothers that you should never try to be better than someone else. I'm sure at the time he did that. It didn't. Well, somewhere, I guess, in the hidden recesses of the mind, it popped out years later. Never try to be better than someone else. Always learn from others. And never cease trying to be the best you could be. That's under your control. And if you get too engrossed and involved and concerned in regard to the things over which you have no control, it will adversely affect the things over which you have control. Then I ran across a simple verse that said, "At God's footstool to confess, a poor soul knelt and bowed his head. I failed," he cried. "The Master said, thou didst thy best." That is success. From those things, and one other perhaps, I coined my own definition of success, which is peace of mind, attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. I believe that's true. If you make the effort to do the best of which you're capable, trying to improve the situation that exists for you, I think that's success, and I don't think others can judge that. I think it's like character and reputation. Your reputation is what you're perceived to be. Your character is what you really are, and I think the character is much more important than what you are perceived to be. You'd hope they'd both be good, but they don't necessarily be the same.
As I said, that comic on the Discord server is already successful. He's getting laughs. It seems like he's performing a lot. He's now writing 10 jokes a day. He's on the server all day long, sharpening his wit by making jokes with the other members. Let's hear some more from John Wooden.
Reminds me of another set of threes that my dad tried to get across to us. Don't whine, don't complain, don't make excuses. You get out there and whatever you're doing, do it to the best of your ability. No one can do more than that. I tried to get across to that. My partners will tell you, never heard me mention winning. Never mention winning. My idea is that you can lose when you outscore somebody in a game, and you can win when you're outscored. I've felt that way on certain occasions at various times. And I just wanted to be able to hold their head up after a game. I used to say that when a game is over and you see somebody that didn't know the outcome, I hope they couldn't tell by your actions whether you outscored an opponent or the opponent outscored you. And that's what really matters. If you make your effort to do the best you can regularly, the results will be about what they should be. Not necessarily what you would want them to be, but they'll be about what they should. And only you will know whether you can do that. And that's what I wanted from them more than anything else. And as time went by and I learned more about other things, I think it worked a little better as far as the results. But I wanted the score of a game to be the byproduct of these other things and not the end itself.
It comes down to putting in the effort to prepare as much as you can and continuously getting better. If you're too nervous on stage, work on that. If you don't have a strong enough closer, make it stronger. Overcome your obstacles. You have to ask yourself, do you want to be a great comic or do you want to be rich and famous? I remember I was in an acting class and the instructor said, if you all want to be actors, then act. Go out on the corner and do a monologue. When you're waiting tables in your regular job, do it as a character. That's what I loved about writing. I didn't have to wait for an audition to be able to apply my craft. I didn't need the okay from anybody. I could write. I could make it better. There's another comic who's brand new. He's not from that group. He reached out to me through email. He did his first open mic last night. He messaged me. We wound up talking on the phone. He was so eager for advice. We talked about the 3 minutes he was going to do. I gave him some suggestions. He wound up reworking his whole 3 minutes. And he's just so enthusiastic, so excited about it. And he went up last night and he did really, really well. His first line got a huge laugh. Now, he did all of that stuff on his own. He was prepared. He put in the work. He was recording himself in his car and putting in pauses and timing it all out, shuffling things around. He's gotten another opportunity since that show. He's thrilled. He's also a success because he did it. After however many years he's been around, he finally did an open mic. And he did all the work so that he would give himself the best possible shot. He knows there's things he's got to work on. He's just starting. But man, that enthusiasm. You're going to find in your career that when you get to certain milestones, that great feeling only lasts for a short period of time. But all those open mics, all those one-nighters you do, all the horrible gigs, all the amazing gigs, that's what it's about. It's about you and that audience. It's not about getting your own special. That's nice. It can be a goal.
Cervantes said, the journey is better than the end. And I like that. And I think that it's getting there. Sometimes when you get there, there's almost a letdown. But it's getting there that's the fun. I like to, as a basketball coach at UCLA, I liked our practices to be the journey, and the game would be the end result. And I'd like to go up and sit in the stands and watch the players play and see whether I'd done a decent job during the week. And there again, it's getting the players to get that self-satisfaction, knowing that they've made the effort to do the best of which they are capable.
You're not going to be able to control the outcome. What you can control is preparing, putting in the work and the effort to be the best version of yourself that you can be. So be demanding and rigorous when it comes to doing the work. Go easy on yourself when it comes to the results, because there's a lot of things that can influence that. This applies to other things in life. It's not just stand-up comedy or basketball. But to continue with the sports analogy, comedy is not a competition with another comic. It's not boxing. You don't have to knock somebody out to win. Comedy is golf. You're trying to beat your last score. You're trying to have your current performance be better than your last one. You're trying to have the next joke be better than all the other jokes you wrote. Hold yourself to that standard, and you'll constantly improve. These are the questions to ask yourself when you look in the mirror. Do you have a writing schedule? Are you doing it every day? Are you performing as often as you can? Are you giving up too quickly? Are you doing your best? I feel repetitive in this video, but I really want you to get this. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll find me again.